Culture war slop is something you have probably heard if you spent any time in libertarian spaces. The idea that engaging in the culture war is somehow a bad idea, that it's useless. The problem with this is that not everyone is going to randomly wake up one day and understand libertarianism. It would of course be great if this would happen, but unfortunately it's not how the world works. Think about how you actually found these ideas. Nobody handed you a copy of Human Action and you just understood it immediately. Something reached you first. Maybe it was a meme, maybe it was a YouTube video, maybe it was just someone online who made the government sound stupid in a way that clicked. That was the cultural movement, not an intellectual one. Culture was the door, and the ideas came after you walked through it. So when libertarians sit there and call engagement with the culture war slop, what they're really saying is they don't want to use the door. They want everyone to climb through the window instead, and then they're confused why nobody shows up. Here's the thing about the people who say this the loudest. These are the same people who have been watching the movement go nowhere for decades. The same people who show up to conferences, talk to each other to feel very smart, and then they wonder why nothing changes. Calling it slop isn't a principled stance, it's just losing with good posture. In fact, it's no different than the virtue signaling from the left that we claim to hate. Because while libertarians were busy being above it all, every other political movement figured out that culture is how you actually win. The left didn't take over universities, media, and Hollywood by accident. They understood that if you control what people think is normal, you control everything. You don't even need to win elections. You just need to own the culture. And the right, whatever you think about them, figured this out too. The memes, the clips, the moments that go viral. It's not slop, it's strategy. The reality is most people are never going to sit down and genuinely research anarcho-capitalism. That's just true. You have to accept that. But most people are willing to watch a video that makes them feel like the government is wasting their money. They'll laugh at a clip that makes a politician look like an idiot. And they'll follow somebody who sounds like them and thinks like them. And slowly, over time, they'll start questioning things they never questioned before. That's the pipeline. Culture gets them in the door, and then the ideas do the work. Ron Paul didn't go viral in 2007 because people suddenly understood Austrian economics. He went viral because he was the only guy on the debate stage saying something that felt completely different from everyone else. That's a cultural movement. That's a feeling of, wait, why does nobody else talk like this? That's what spreads. Not only policy details, not the reading list, the feelings. So when you dismiss the culture war, what you're actually doing is guaranteeing that the good ideas never reach the people who need to hear them. You're choosing to be ideologically pure and completely irrelevant at the same time. And I get it. It feels gross to engage with sometimes. It feels beneath the ideas. But the alternative is talking to the same 1,000 people forever while the state gets bigger and bigger every single year. Now let's talk about the movement itself. Because even if we solve the culture war problem, even if libertarians start engaging, start making content, start reaching normies, we still have another issue. And this one is honestly far more embarrassing. Libertarians are terrible at having a movement. Go to any libertarian event, any conference, any meetup, and especially any online space, you will find the same thing every time. A group of people who agree on like 90% of everything and have somehow managed to turn that 10% into a complete civil war. ANCAPs think minarchists are statists. Minarchists think ANCAPs are crazy. Everyone has one true correct interpretation of the NAP and everyone else is wrong. And while we're in here arguing about whether roads can theoretically exist without the government, they can. The state is getting bigger every single year without fail. But sure, let's spend another 3 hours debating whether a private court system would handle intellectual property correctly. This is called purity spiraling and is one of the most effective ways to guarantee a movement never actually accomplishes anything. Every person you run out the tent for not being libertarian enough is a person who was at least partially on your side, and you just turn them into somebody who thinks libertarians are insufferable. Great job. Every successful political movement in history has been built on coalitions. People who don't agree on everything, but agree on enough to move in the same direction. The left does this constantly. They have people who hate each other sitting at the same table because they understand that winning requires numbers. The right does this too. You think every MAGA voter has the same exact worldview? No, but they showed up together. Libertarians would rather lose clean than win messy. And I understand the instinct, I really do. When you care deeply about the ideas, it feels wrong to compromise them. But there's a difference between compromising your ideas and compromising on who you talk to. You can believe in full anarcho-capitalism and still have a conversation with a Ron Paul Republican without calling them a statist. You can work with people who want to cut taxes without pretending taxation isn't theft. Coalition building isn't ideological surrender. It's just basic strategy. And the gatekeeping doesn't just hurt us externally. It actively repels the people we should be trying to bring in. Imagine you're a normal person, you're starting to question the government, and you find a libertarian space online. the first thing that happens is someone tells you you're not a real libertarian because you still think there should be a military. That person is gone. You just lost them. They're going to find a movement that actually wants them there. We are one of the only movements that treats new people like suspects instead of recruits. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get said enough. Libertarians never built anything. And I mean that seriously. Think about what the left built over the last century. Universities, media outlets, nonprofit foundations, think tanks that actually have cultural influence. They built institutions that create the next generation of people who think like them. You go to college, you get professors who have particular worldviews, and that worldview shapes you, whether you realize it or not. That's not an accident. That was intentional, and it took decades. The authoritarian right has also done this, though to a lesser extent. They built churches, they've built media empires, and they've built their own pipeline. You can disagree with what they built, but you cannot disagree that it works. They have a machine that produces people and moves culture. What do libertarians actually have? Mises.org, a podcast that gets the same 10,000 people listening to it, and the Libertarian Party, which we'll get to in a minute. There's no libertarian institution that reaches normies. There is no pipeline that takes someone from having a vague distrust of the government to actually understanding these ideas. There is no machine. It's just a bunch of individuals who found their way here by accident and stay in a bubble talking with each other. And this is why content creation actually matters. This is why what Mentis Wave is doing on YouTube matters, because right now, independent creators are the closest thing to an institution libertarians actually have. There's no university doing this work. There's no mainstream media outlet. It's just people making videos, making podcasts, making memes. That's the entire pipeline, and most of the movement still looks down on it. Okay, now on to the Libertarian Party. I'm going to be honest with you. The LP has become almost impossible to defend, and I don't say that as someone who doesn't want it to succeed. I say that as someone who has watched it repeatedly, consistently, and almost impressively find new ways to make libertarians look insane to the outside world. You had that one nude guy at the convention. You had candidates who seemed like they were specifically selected to confirm every negative stereotype about libertarians. You have internal drama that gets broadcasted publicly in the most embarrassing ways possible. Every 4 years, the LP gets a moment of mainstream attention, and almost every 4 years, they find a way to waste it. Not even mentioning that the Libertarian Party doesn't choose libertarian candidates ever. They basically choose either Democrat light or Republican light. They don't actually choose a Ron Paul. And the problem isn't just the embarrassment. The problem is that the LP is supposed to be the face of libertarianism to people who have no idea what libertarianism is. That's their whole job. When someone hears Libertarian Party and then sees what the LP actually does, that's the impression they walk away with. That's what they think we all are. Normies think we all act and believe what Chase Oliver believes. That being said, there are good people in the LP. There are serious people trying to do serious work, but the party as an institution has a massive branding problem, and until that gets fixed, it is going to keep being a liability instead of an asset. If the Libertarian Party cannot be the vehicle, then the vehicle has to be culture. It has to be content. It has to be independent people building audiences and moving ideas. Because right now, that's the only thing actually working. So where does that leave us? The ideas are good. I genuinely believe that. Voluntary exchange, individual liberty, the non-aggression principle. These ideas make sense. These are ideas that when people actually understand them, tend to resonate. The philosophy is not the problem. The problem is everything around the philosophy. The culture war dismissal that keeps us irrelevant, the purity spiraling that keeps us small, the lack of institutions that keep us from building a real pipeline. The Libertarian Party keeps making us look bad. These are self-inflicted wounds. We are not losing because we are wrong. We are losing because we keep making decisions that guarantee we stay on the margins. We keep choosing to be right in private instead of influential in public. We keep running off people instead of bringing them in. We keep waiting for the world to come to us instead of going to the world. And the frustrating part is that the window is actually open right now. People are more skeptical of the government than they have been in a very long time. Trust in institutions is at historic lows. People are looking for alternatives. The appetite is there. But the appetite alone doesn't build a movement. Someone has to do the work of actually feeding it. So if you're a libertarian watching this, that's the job. Make the content, build the audience, have the conversations that feel beneath you. Talk to the people who only agree with you halfway. Stop waiting for the perfect moment or perfect candidate. These ideas deserve better than what the movement has been giving them. Let's actually start winning.